All right, so here we are at the third section and last section of the Trade Logistics Symposium 2022. I'm here with two of our honorable guest speakers. Could you introduce yourselves one by one, please?
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name is Dr. Piyanoot Sumrith. I'm the founder and managing director of WeMove platform, and I'm the president of Thai Transportation and Logistics Association and vice president of business of silo, warehouse, silo, and cold storage. Yes,
Okay.
nice to talk to you.
Okay, I'm James Marchant. I'm the Chief Logistics Officer of Lazada here in Thailand. I'm sure some of you, or most of you, know Lazada. Hopefully all of you shop on it.
Lazada.
Lazada, add to cart. We were founded in 2012. We're present in 6 markets. We started life as a retailer. First challenge for e-commerce was how do you deliver in a market that didn't have very sophisticated infrastructure? So we built our own. How do you deliver and receive cash? So we built our own network. If you fast forward to today, 10 years later, we run a highly tech-enabled network which integrates the best-in-class of third-party logistics and in-house to deliver the lowest cost and the best service to our consumers.
Okay, and we are also joined via online. Ms. Rachelle, how is the signal there? Ms. Rachelle?
Very good. Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hi there.
Very sorry, and I'm not able to join you in person. Looks like a very happening event today. I'm Rachelle Alexis Lim, Executive Director of 2C2P. I lead our regional business development strategy and have been actively involved in growing 2C2P's presence across the region. Very much looking forward to a good discussion this afternoon.
Okay, thank you, all of you three, for joining us this afternoon. Starting off, we're talking about the Mekong Region. Very important region here in Thailand as well. First off, I would like to start off with a question and possibly a discussion on the pandemic, the recent pandemic, which is sort of still going on right now too. What are the most challenging aspects during the pandemic for logistics and e-commerce, do you think?
For me, for the COVID, and then it's just terrible at that time because no plan. I mean, it happened like suddenly, and then for myself and my member, the transporter, we just have to. Everyone have to stay home, work from home, and then just only transporter can go around the country and cross border. But you know, the process is very. We have a lot of process. So, and then our transporter, like when we go to another province, we have to have the vaccine.
Oh yeah.
It have policy that if the driver gonna go to the area, have to have the vaccine. But at that time, for the first time, the vaccine very hard to find. You know, so it's very nice that the government give the vaccine for the driver at the first time. But it's kind of like a 1% of our driver. For the all diver in Thailand, we have like a 1.2 million diver, but we got like a 1,200 vaccines, some kind of that. So this is quite hard to delivery the cargo because people scaring our driver, people scaring about the cargo, and you can see all the news on the social that cargo and then in the warehouse a lot of cargo and can delivery because of no
Everything
staff.
Just stopped.
No staffing or something like that. This is what we have to do at that time. Like a president of association, I do is we negotiate with many province to get around our driver to go to the area, just control their area, just sit in the truck, not go outside, just go in the area and then come out, something like that. That's what we have happened with us at that time. And by the way, we have to do everything by the online.
Yep.
We have some communication, the paperwork, other, the ordering, everything have to be online. And at that time, we find out that our member, some of our member, they prepare for online system. They can handle that. But by the way, the one that not prepare for that, they get hurt. They don't have a job. Their staff don't have a job, and the economic is quite down. Just the last mile, the e-commerce and last mile can go and growth a lot. The other like traditional trade is dropped, and so the transporter that service for the traditional is their revenue is dropped, but the last mile is good. That's what happened. For the cross border is the problem quite the same. It means that it's very complicated to handle the cargo from Thailand to other countries because the law and regulation, it wastes time, have to wait for a long time, and then the process of document is quite a lot. So the cost is very high at that time. Every driver have to test the ATK, and at that time the ATK very high cost,
Oh, it's expensive, yeah.
So that at that time, I think for me, it's very hard work to help our driver and our member from our association and our industry to pass that situation, and then we just told everyone that okay, everyone stay at home, everyone have to be safe. We are gonna get our cargo to all of you,
So it
something like that.
sort of forces you to do more e-commerce.
Yeah.
Is it a similar problem there at Lazada?
Yeah, I mean, I think your first comment, no plan, probably resonates quite well. Everything we had planned for was about not being able to access buildings for fires and that sort of stuff, not that a group of people working in the building were going to become the risk. And it was about groups of people together that were the risk. We found ourselves in a bit of a perfect storm because on one hand, we're impacted by all the regulation and the controls, which took a while to filter through and understand because everyone understood them differently and local authorities were trying to interpret national data. So it took a while to get the flow to understand what to do. So we were finding disruption in the network at the same time that people that were staying home that couldn't go out and shop were shopping online. So we have this explosive demand that as you take this back through the network, how do you do it? Because a parcel network is designed that this parcel keeps moving. It's not designed that you stop anywhere, because if you stop, you get a flood behind it.
A bottleneck, yeah.
So we found fairly quickly the standard way of running a business in terms of looking at silos and very clear communication between the silos didn't work. We needed something much more dynamic in terms of how we communicated internally and how we worked together with our 3PL partners and the brands and the sellers to make sure that we really understood what we could and couldn't do and how we could then manipulate the flows of product into different transporters, taking account of all the problems these people were having. Because, I mean, at any one time, you could find a 3PL can't deliver to a certain postcode region, or we couldn't. So we were always moving volume around, trying to make the best. But core principles kicked in. Take care of the people in the network. Logistics is it's a people business. We were all staying home whilst we had thousands of people out interacting with people that were buying and sellers. So our first priority was to revisit our internal processes, look at how people were working together to make sure we could facilitate a safe environment for these people. And then I found, the industry really came together to work out how we could get vaccines. In the early days, they weren't easily available. And the industry really did support each other, helping us find where the sources were. And I think it helped break silos in the industry. I think we are, as an industry, stronger for the experience.
So you also worked with Kun Piyanoot about this and logistics and things, because you were probably extremely busy during the initial stage of the pandemic.
At that time, like people call, can go to this area, can go to this province. Just please talk to someone to get my truck in there, something like that. Yeah.
Well, what about your view, Ms. Rachelle, during the initial stage of the pandemic? How was it for you in terms of
very
logistics?
Much the same, right? Yeah. As both our other co-panelists mentioned, business as we knew it was at a standstill, basically. I mean, not to mention the international mobility, even just the domestic mobility, because of the response that the local governments had to take to manage the pandemic, right? Highly restricted mobility. And especially in the early days of the pandemic, there was heavy reliance and much hope put on the logistics industry for sure, because that was like basically one of the key exempted industries that could help us still move business. And so from our point of view, being in the payments industry, being a payment solutions provider, all we could really do is help businesses quickly pivot to online. Or those who at least have had need to shift to a hybrid model. We powered a lot of their businesses. Those who could have the technical capability to set up their own e-commerce businesses shifted there, and we saw also a strengthening of the marketplaces like Lazada, right? Where businesses who just did not have the manpower or the capability had to turn to ready-made one-stop solutions, to help them continue running their businesses. There was also this strong emergence of, shift in food and necessity, turning to online for distribution and payment. So we saw a lot of businesses having to migrate their strategy and their approach to the market that way.
Well, going back to Dr. Piyanoot, can you tell us about the situation where basically a lot of people were experiencing this for the first time? There was massive lockdowns and vaccines were not even out yet. Could you sort of explain how you dealt with that when there were no vaccines yet and then lockdowns happening, and how was the logistics situation doing in Thailand back then?
If let me doubt about if we don't have the vaccine or something like that. I think that the transporter have to be change the way that they do business. I mean the process. They have to change some process. They have to be make it shorter and then communicate with customer at the front. I mean, at the original or the destination by online system.
Okay.
I mean some kind of that, because but the real thing is the cargo can move themselves. They need somebody, right? Even the driver doesn't have the vaccine. We still have to do that. I mean, they have to be protect themselves by like the
face masks.
Yeah, face mask. Very funny at the beginning, the driver have to wear how to say the white very hot.
Oh yeah. Very hot to protect the whole bodysuit.
Yes, the driver some areas sickly. Let my driver wear like that. How come, but okay, if they want, customer is the king, Okay, we wear that, but but pay the same price,
Oh, okay. So that must have been very hard on the drivers.
Yes, the costing, right? The operation cost is very high at that time.
Okay.
Even we can have, because many industry jealous us that logistics still okay. Every like a hotel or other retail is stopped, and you are still working on. You still have a job, a lot of job, but no way. The operation cost is very high, but we still to do that because we care about people, population.
Yeah.
We just do, but so on. I just want to mention that even anything happen, any crisis, we know that we have to serve our cargo, the cargo to the end customer, to be safe, to be good, everything like that. But other thing that we have to adapt or change our process, whatever we have to do,
So would
and
you say,
prepare for that. Yep.
would you say after the pandemic or the initial stage of the pandemic, all of this sort of helped push everybody along to more of e-commerce? And you, Mr. Marchant or Ms. Rachelle can add to this. Is the system more effective now than it was before the pandemic?
It's more agile.
It's more flexible and agile.
It really is flexible. I think one of the other really interesting dynamics we saw was, despite all this going on with lockdowns, customer expectation did not change. If anything, it increased.
Okay. We still need our products.
Yeah.
Give us our products.
I can go to a shop tomorrow. I can't go to a shop. The expectation was even higher. So the customers were fairly unforgiving in terms of the service standard. We saw an amazing resilience in the guys on the front line. These people were completely committed to be out there and doing what they could to support the local economy. They understood they were the lifeline for some of our sellers. The only channel they had was e-com. And I think the people involved in that chain understood it. And we did our bit, rewriting protocols for how they deliver, QR code scanning to really put the distance between the driver and the consumer. But there was a huge spirit to sort of deliver across the whole region, I think, to keep things moving.
What was the main category of products that people usually ordered online from Lazada during the pandemic?
I mean, there was a lot of move towards food and grocery and very basic supplies.
Okay.
It was a real shift.
So a lot of bags or
Yeah.
compartments and stuff to put food in then. How was the experience for you, Ms. Rachelle? Any
Yeah,
main problems? Any main problems that you encountered during that time?
Well, for our business, there wasn't really much problem, mainly because we provide digital payment services. But we did see that across the various industries that we used to serve, we serve, there was definitely this urgency, right? As I mentioned earlier, for them to be able to continue doing business. And thankfully, like there are certain solutions, there were already infrastructure built, in cooperation with governments, etc., in the past, that made the shift to digitalization a little bit easier, a little bit more ready. So there were several business. For example, in Thailand, we launched a solution that we call Quick, where we helped a lot of SMEs quickly turn to social media, enable social commerce as a mode of doing business over the pandemic. And we were able to onboard 4,000 SMEs quickly. Even the hotel industry, we're not talking about retail, but a lot of the services industries also started shifting to digitalization. Again, as they highlighted, it was at the beginning, people went back to basics. Food and necessities became the key thing. So that's where a lot of our focus went. Businesses who were used to have very traditional take on doing business, very quickly shed that and, turn to online. So more than anything, I think what the pandemic, from our point of view, what the pandemic has done is to accelerate and introduce a lot of businesses into embracing online and e-commerce, whether it's, a high-tech adoption of e-commerce or online digitalization through applications or setting up their own stores, or doing it through an easier route of working with marketplaces, right? There were like several F&B marketplaces, retail marketplaces that cropped up and thrived during this time, and we helped power these. And then there were also businesses that, were happy even with just an electronic invoicing solution, and we also powered a lot of that. Contactless payment methods through QR scanning. A lot of those changes we observed happened. Online retail grew by 2 to 3 times during the pandemic at the early stages. So there was really a big shift. And the good news is, like, more than being a problem, right? The good news is, I think this has introduced a big change, not only in the mindset of businesses, but also in the mindset of users.
Okay.
There were many users that used to not really prefer to buy online, and the pandemic situation has educated them and allowed them to embrace the world of online. And these changes, these behavioral changes, are expected to stay, right? We're seeing that even after the effects of the pandemic, these users, many of these users still continue to shop online. They've discovered the convenience of this. Yeah.
Well, what do you most buy online, personally? I'm guessing food.
Personally,
Food.
food.
Food, okay. I'm guessing everybody's...
I'm based in Hong Kong, and
Uh-huh.
Hong Kong is one of the markets that still adopt, very quite conservative policies on,
Okay.
the pandemic management, right? So, yeah, food is everything for us, access to food.
Okay, would you say the Mekong region is well prepared for going online and then ordering everything via online? How well prepared do you think the Mekong region is right now?
I think the past 2 years has really accelerated the development a lot, right? So I would say at this point, the Mekong region is very well prepared. Of course, there are still certain improvements that, as an overall industry, we'd like to see. But from a user and behavioral point of view, from the infrastructure point of view, I think we're
Okay.
quite ready in this region.
Well, asking Dr. Piyanoot,
Yep.
what improvements do you think the Mekong region can improve on in terms of e-commerce? Maybe blockchain, because we
Yep.
talked about blockchain today. Mr. Bazad said that blockchain is going to be quite important in the e-commerce, not necessarily cryptocurrency. You got to differentiate these things. So what do you think of blockchain, and then how can the Mekong region improve?
Yeah, for me, the e-commerce, I think we ready for that. Probably from the pandemic is accelerate, because the cost of customer to be change their behavior from traditional way to like a online way, something like that. I think actually have to have a longer time, right? When pandemic come, it's just short time because they have to be survive. And in your question, I order from Lazada. I'm the your
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Number one customer.
only platform that I order because I get used to. So after that, I not change. This is what I think for the customer.
He's very
for
happy over there.
For the first, experience and happy with that, I'm not go around. I'm very high loyalty, something like that. Okay. So for me, food and exercise things, because we lock home, we just
Okay.
make stronger, something like. Okay, come back to the Mekong, right? I think that people ready for the e-commerce and happy for that already. But I think the hard part is the support.
In terms of infrastructure or the
I mean logistic lah.
logistic-wise?
Yeah, logistic cost and then
Okay.
the service level. Because the driver or whoever to do the service have to be the one that touch with the customer experience.
Okay.
So you can sell anything on the shelf, right? The online shelf. But how come that the customer happy with the cargo? What happy mean is right time, right place, right cargo, not damaged, And this is interesting. I'm been in this industry for a long time. In the past, if order today gonna be 3 days, the customer accept that 3 days, accept that in the past. But after that, next day
They
can
want it.
accept. They want it next day.
Okay.
Now, morning, afternoon. So this is our challenging. So if come back here, I think for e-commerce person, customer, they want the cargo very nice and fast.
Okay.
Nice price and fast delivery.
So how much more employees would you need to increase, maybe percentage-wise, or would you go to improve the digitization of the system?
Um, um, from me, I think if the e-commerce growing up, I saw for many the big corporate, they don't have much more staff.
Oh, okay. So you might be doing more digitization or the system itself.
Right.
Because adding more employees means more cost. And that's
Right.
not too good for companies,
Yeah.
profit-wise.
Just the driver that you have to have, right? If in the future the drone come, or you have the robot come walk to send.
Oh, what do you think about
Yeah,
drones
probably
in the
he-
future?
he's a global-
Talking about new
he's
trends
global
and
already.
technology, drones.
I'm not sure it's a now, but it's definitely coming, and you see
Okay.
in parts of the world sort of automatic delivery trucks that are driving around and stopping in housing estates and universities where people go out and take their own cargo out the locker. I think your point's very interesting, that it's all about the consumer experience, and it starts on the platform and it ends with some guy or person turning up to deliver, and the logistics is the connectivity. I think there's a couple of trends which have existed through my career for the last 20 years but have continued to accelerate. How fast can you deliver? How cheap can you deliver? And then once you've moved into e-com, how strong is your returns process? Because once you get those things right, people keep shopping, they don't change. So the journey starts with a search on the platform, and,
Okay.
it ends with the parcel.
Are drones cost effective, do you think, in delivering?
It's still emerging technology, so I
Okay.
wouldn't say it's fully enforced.
Well, Ms. Rachelle, who's based in Hong Kong, how about drones? What do you see the future of drones?
Why not? Yeah. It's I mean, one thing, right, that I wanted to comment on is people have become more demanding of like expecting how fast, how quickly these online orders are delivered, and we've seen that, and we've heard about that in China, right? Like the logistics infrastructure has advanced so much with an early dawn of understanding and that demand. It's really going to be continued to be driven by people wanting more and more and things to be given to them faster. So yeah, I think it's a matter of time now that more eyes are open to e-commerce. It's really just a matter of time when logistics becomes even stronger. The proposition is no longer just on the basics, but really on the speed, intraday deliveries, etc. So I think a lot of that. I think I anticipate with eagerness to happen in the Mekong region as well. But one thing I wanted to also highlight is that in relation, like payments in relation to logistics and how the operational efficiency could improve, right? Mekong region in general has been known to be highly reliant on cash on delivery. And if anything, this pandemic, the contactless attitude, the experience of having been locked at home or unable to access the banks, go out to withdraw cash, has prompted, we saw this trend, this shift in behavior to people becoming more willing to do prepayments online. And hopefully with a continued reduction in cash on delivery or preference for cash, with a higher level of trust in marketplaces and institutions that conduct online businesses and delivery, we see that further efficiencies can be derived, because I know cash on delivery is one extra step that affects success rates and affects efficiency for logistics companies. Yeah.
Okay. So from what you are saying, I'm seeing a trend here in that the pandemic sort of forced everybody to adapt more and more to e-commerce, especially for using credit cards or using credit instead of paying cash on delivery, which I like to pay cash on delivery before, because initially I was like, I don't want to give my credit card information away. I don't know what.
See.
Yeah, and then later, you
Well-
change, then you get used to it. Was it like that for Lazada as well in the beginning? I mean, before the pandemic, people paid via cash, or was it just credit card from the very start?
I mean, it's different by market. I mean, if you look in Thailand, it's still very cash dominated. You know, even if you're going into sort of downtown city offices, the courier is still stood there for long times waiting for professional people to come and pay cash. So the psyche hasn't quite moved. We saw a change, but I think there's still a lot more to do to really change the consumer's mindset in terms of the payment method. But there's other markets in the region where the adoption is significantly higher of sort of cashless delivery.
Such as where? In the
Malaysia, Singapore, completely different.
More cashless.
Yeah, more cashless
Society then.
Yeah.
What about the Mekong? Do you see a more cashless society developing?
Yeah, I want to share backwards
Sure.
a little bit. In Thailand, first of the e-commerce come, I think COD is very popular, right? It's like a cashless COD, right? But after that, I saw that COD is quite decreased. But like a payment by the payment gateway is very popular. People, first, I think they not trust, you know, like what you say, right? Put the credit card,
a bit apprehensive, yes.
Information, whatever. But after that, I think they're looking for convenience, easy, especially your platform, Just one push, go to my account already and get my money come out already, you know. Just one click and just 3 seconds, something like that. My money is gone, something like that. But it's good, something like that. Okay.
Very user friendly.
Yeah, it's very fun, you know. So I don't want to pay by cash because if like a COD, I have to stay at home, right? It's the experience is not good because driver come, I'm not home. How come, right? I have to tell someone to pay or something like that. I think it's not convenient. Actually, people buy things by e-commerce, they need convenience, right?
Yes.
They need easy, something like that, some kind. But in Thailand, I think government help like for the payment gateway because we have the project like คนละครึ่ง some kind of this. So
discount.
Right? People get used to with this payment, right? They have to scan QR code, go to the online, right? The platform of the bank, the
So
Thai
it's sort of like
commercial bank.
the government giving more incentive for Thai people to get used to the technology.
Yes.
If you want discount, then you're going to have to use this technology. Otherwise, you don't get a discount. And once they are familiarized with the technology, they become more familiar with e-commerce as well. What do you think about blockchain? Maybe Lazada, are you incorporating blockchain in the system?
Elements of it. I mean, if you look particularly at the cross-border trades, it's all about control of the data and reliability of the data. Blockchain is becoming an increasing part of that control process, you know, to make sure that the two ends of the transactions match. And so I think it will continue to grow, particularly in the international trade side of it, which is still in many ways quite manually driven once you get to borders. So it will continue to rise and be used more.
Are you incorporating blockchain in any specific sectors of Lazada in the delivery service, like the payment service, or any technology of blockchain into Lazada right now?
It's starting to come into more prominence into the technologies. And it will become more prominent, particularly in the international trade side of it.
Well, what about in Hong Kong, Ms. Rachelle? How is blockchain doing there? Because people need to differentiate between blockchain and cryptocurrency. Initially, people talked about cryptocurrency being blockchain, but now we're talking about, you know, delivery service and e-commerce and using blockchain, but not necessarily cryptocurrency. What is it like there in Hong Kong?
That's right. Well, there remains to be a very strong attention being given to it. Like right now, I haven't really seen blockchain being applied to the logistics sector here. But yeah, a variety of industries, like, you know, like just CBDC, right? There's already a lot of talk about it. So we continue to monitor the developments in that, and we do believe that it's going to play a huge role in the coming few years across this industry, like across multiple industries, actually.
Okay, so a lot of developments happening in the blockchain sector. Talking about a one-stop platform in the Mekong region. This comes from an audience member. Dr. Piyanoot, what do you think about the Mekong region developing what they said was a one-stop platform where everybody comes here to do e-commerce? Any developments in that field?
Actually, Mekong, or we call GMS, right, is quite like a corporation, like 30 years already, huh? Right? But now it changed because I don't think that the 30 years before that they think about e-commerce. I don't think that. I don't think that. So now, probably their model or everything that they draw it have to be changed. Now, for e-commerce, I think Mekong is like one big area, quite got opportunity, and then I think people, the culture and then their lifestyle is quite the same. So e-commerce can go all the Mekong quite fast and then seamless. But the hard part that I ever deal with many part service provider is like each country have law and regulation that it not link the linkage is not okay.
It's not the same, yeah.
Yeah, so like what I say, costing, right? E-commerce people want to buy the thing with the logistic cost is very efficiency and fast enough, something like that. If the process of the custom service, right, the process other service that make it slow, the cargo is slow or the cargo is stuck, not the time that the customer expect, that the challenge point that I think that we have to do together. Who will do together? I think government have to deal together first, but have the private sector to involve and then get them know that what their requirement or something like that.
Okay, so it's the same going back to what Mr. Bazat said before. Customs, very important because these things causes delays and then the customer experience goes down if there's a lot of delay. Is there a particular sort of like a Mekong region culture in delivery service? Is it the same everywhere around the world, or is there a particular culture of delivery in the Mekong region, do you think?
I think different.
How so?
How so, right? I think will be growth more than other region for me, huh? We know, right? Thai people like to shopping.
Yes.
I think the same as around here, like Mekong people.
Well, we are in the center of shopping today at Lido Connect. Yep.
Thai people always online and shopping. Thai people number one of shopping, huh? Tourist, something like that. So I think this is the point that their culture it means that if the logistic is good enough, it means that you want to sell anything you can sell. The logistic is smart. The sale happen. You know what I'm saying, right? The commerce happen. So I think it will be closed so fast, and then the payment, help to make it very easy, and then the custom and then the government, the policy is facilitate for this. I think it's probably very easy that I want to order something from Laos or Myanmar. It's like a same day if you can do that. You know, it's very nice. You know, I can buy and I can sell. We can exchange our cargo. We exchange economic. We exchange the good thing from here to another place, from another place to here to Thailand. Some kind of this, because Thai have very good things, very good. We have very good fruit. We want.
There you go.
We want
durian. I like durian.
Right. We want the good things to go around, because if the process of logistics is not good, the good things stay here and die here. You know, some kind of that. And I think that other countries have the very good thing want to come to here. So this is our responsibility to make it fast and easy, convenient and good enough to get the good things.
Okay,
something
so
like
you
this.
see a relatively high growth or a very high growth
Yep.
in the Mekong region. What do you think of the growth in the Mekong region so far?
Yeah, I think there's a huge adoption of internet usage and a willingness to shop online. So I mean that's going to be the driver. It's a game of infrastructure. You know, logistically, stuff like addresses in different countries take different forms. You know, so how you actually identify where that consumer is to deliver to is a logistics challenge. I think it's going to require some collaboration between the private sectors and the governments to get some standardization, particularly in the cross-border area, so we can link technology. The more standardized it is, the more we can automate things to get that balance between the control and the transparency that the governments want versus the efficiency that the private sector wants. If we can get the speed and the cost right through that transparency, through the use of technology, we're able to give all the small and medium-sized sellers all over the region inter-region access to a consumer base.
It'll sort of be like a feeling of everybody's close together,
Yeah,
not in
absolutely.
another country, if everything's extremely efficient. But going back again to the government support theme,
Yeah.
government needs to support this, custom needs to support this, shouldn't have too much delay, otherwise the customer experience will decrease. What do you think, Ms. Rachelle, in the Mekong region about the e-commerce? How much growth do you see in the future?
Still quite a lot. I mean, a big part of the challenge will have to be tackled by our dear friends in logistics, obviously. But from a payment provider point of view, right, we're seeing a significant shift, as I mentioned, to digital. There's been a lot of wallets that emerged, QR payment methods that government sponsored and promoted intensively for domestic adoption, that we're starting to see to have interoperability across markets. So Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand are interconnected, even Singapore, you know. So a lot of these, we hope to continue seeing collaboration across governments and these institutions to promote more interoperability across markets. This will definitely help promote cross-border commerce. And likewise, you know, a lot of these other alternative methods that would promote more prepayments, reduce the need for the challenge of cash on delivery, especially for cross-border trade, in the form of, you know, being able to offer domestic wallets as payment methods, even for you know, international merchants. This is a responsibility we're taking on to help speed up and you know, improve as far as, you know, the initial stage of e-commerce cross-border growth is concerned. But again, as highlighted by them, there's a lot of involvement and hope on the government side, right? And we're talking about the different governments here to continue to look into how to tie the region together and open up the corridors, not only in terms of these interoperable QR or payment methods, but also on, say, taxation. It's going to remain to be a challenge to have you know, different taxes applied. How beautiful it would be if we have, say, a cross-border VAT system similar to what the European zone has. So there's still a lot of improvements, but that also means still a lot of potential for this region.
Okay, thank you for that insight. Before wrapping up, I think we should give a chance for audience members to type in some questions or comments, or any audience members here that might have questions for our speakers. So if you have any questions, you can raise your hands, and our staff, the person right there มีคนยกมือตรงนั้นครับ Okay. Could you introduce yourself, where you're from, and then what question do you have for which speaker?
Okay, so my name is Prin. Thank you for giving us some insight. I'm from Hollywood, Siam. Actually, two questions, if you don't mind. One is Thailand ready for paperless society? I mean, in terms of different supply chains. not necessarily customers or the end user, but are we ready in different supply chains? I'm talking about in logistics wise, ports, depot, or truckings or different things. And the second one is the reverse logistics. I know that there's a waste happening, but also I really want to know if there's any benefits that come out of it. Thank you.
The question would be directed to perhaps.
I guess maybe reverse logistics, maybe Lazada.
Okay, Lazada.
Please.
I mean, reverse logistics is is something none of us want, but it's part of the environment. So and it's an integral part of the customer experience. So if you look at the development and the way it's gone, the focus has very much been on how do you deliver to the customer. I think the reverse element of that journey has still got some improvement to do. It's there, it's a bit clunky, it's not as satisfying and the differentiator we'd like it to be. It's something we'd like to eradicate, but that's, particularly as people move more into buying fashion and that sort of stuff, there is a much stronger reverse element to it. And that's just something the industry is going to have to adapt to and find ways to process, return product to either resell or find proper ways to dispose.
Okay. Next question comes from audience member from Zoom, and any of you could add your insights in if you would like. Which model of the logistics platform should be used? So a specific model, perhaps?
You want first or lady first, huh?
Yeah, ladies
Ladies
first.
first.
Okay. For my opinion, I think now Thailand we try to have we already have the nation single window already, but it's not efficiency like what we try to be, but we keep develop it. If Thailand have nation single window and then the GMS has the ASEAN single window or some kind of that, I think everyone gonna be on the same platform, right?
Okay.
And then any part on this logistic, any stakeholder should be jump in the same platform, and we connect to each other with the API or something like that. Before to go that, everyone have to be the same standard first. If the same standard of what they're doing, the process, the standard of the document form, the standard of the methodology of they pay or something like that, and push in the like a super platform, and then gonna be very easy for every country to get in, and then we gonna move and exchange our information very easy and real time and very collective or something like
So
that.
a common platform and a common model.
Yep.
Any particular one in specific?
I just have no idea that who should be made, who
Okay,
would
so
belong
it's in
something.
its initial stage right now, but you want everything to be the same
Yep.
and standardized.
Uh-huh.
How about in Lazada's opinion?
I think I'd agree. It's about an ecosystem. And the more people you plug into an ecosystem and the more standard it is, the more everybody wins. And I think the aim is that we support buyers and sellers in the markets to be able to get easy access to assortments of products.
Would
That
you
comes
say-
from the ecosystem.
Would you say as well China, Europe, and the US has a different ecosystem in their e-commerce?
I think some of the trade flows are easier to execute because there's more commonality. So if you look at Europe, it operates as one block.
Yep.
It's very simple. This region isn't there. It is still, it's still got some harmonization to go through. It's very different by country.
Ms. Rachelle, do you have any insights on the model that the Mekong region should use?
Yeah, certainly. Like if we look at Europe, right? Like as James mentioned, they operate as a block, and I think that's what has helped say countries like China with this size, or US, or Europe, not a country but a region, when there's less fragmentation and when there's more cooperation, definitely we get to see more synergy, smoother processes, smoother everything. So that's why earlier I was mentioning, really strong government support and strong government cooperation across the region would benefit the entire industry a lot.
Okay. Next question comes from online, from the Zoom. The question is for Lazada. They asked, is it possible to connect all countries in one platform? And which type of business could that happen to? Is there a particular universal platform that everybody can connect to?
I mean, the way the Lazada ecosystem's going is that we will provide sort of inter-country cross-border trade. So our aim is to be able to provide sellers in Thailand access to all the markets. So to give a Thai seller access to the Indonesian market with their produce, and make sure it's compliant and execute in an efficient way.
And if somebody were to order something from Indonesia, how long would it take to be transported to Thailand?
It's still very much in its infancy, but I mean, it's a different service level. It's it's not next day. There'll be a lead time of 3 to 4 days, but it's about giving assortment to people in the different markets and giving that reach for local Thai sellers to get their Thai produce out to a much wider audience.
So the whole of ASEAN then. This question is for Dr. Piyanoot. In terms of door-to-door management, are there any growth potential? Door-to-door management.
Yep, sure. Get back for myself. Now, actually, I do the transporter. In the past, I go with the family business, do the transporter. But now I'm do the platform. That's what I introduce myself and do the WeMove platform, because I believe in technology. I believe in platform. I think people can connect together and then everything can happen, everything. And it's beautiful because platform is beautiful because they the small entrepreneur, the medium and small, they have the space, they have a chance to get in there, and someone help them to make opportunity, and then they have to just create their value, what their product, their value of their product. That's all. The facilitate the service or other things that not their core business, they don't have to do something like that because platform help them. Come back to here. Thank you for the question. For the door-to-door, I think the customer, what we do, we have to think about customer first. E-commerce happen, people order with the finger. People want to sit home, get the cargo. So if in a few future, I mean probably tomorrow, a few days from here, no one want to walk in and get the cargo. How come? But I don't know. I have no ideas. Probably have some innovate that someone probably invent some service that people want just get the thing, don't do anything. You know what I'm saying, right?
Just want to sit at home and wait for the product.
Or don't want to send it home, send to somewhere that they want. Can be. You know what I'm saying, right? I think this is the way that our service provider have to think about that. If you have to compete or you have to compete to other provider, you have to think that how experience that you're gonna deliver to your customer. You just say that I send the cargo. Don't say that. You're not sender. You send the value of the service to your customer. So door to door, I think the answer. And then so the full truckload, the less than truckload, and the parcel already door to door, right? And we have full truckload already door to door. We have some cargo not yet door to door. I think they have to improve this service to be door to door and door to more and more. I think
Okay.
have to think about that.
So everything is all improving customer service then.
Yep.
Next question, I think, is the last question. Goes to Lazada. As you are an e-commerce platform, what is the criteria in choosing logistic providers? We had a logistic provider yesterday. Mr. Zhang, come speak here too.
So, service, cost, capacity. They're the three things that we use. In some markets, you're limited because there isn't a wide array of service providers with the coverage. But they're the three elements that we use. It's quite a dynamic process. So the allocation will change on a day-to-day basis. The tech in the background sort of enables us to make the right decision to deliver the highest service at the lowest cost. And that is sort of running all the time to pick from an array of service providers.
All right, I think that pretty much wraps it up. Just to give a quick close, could each of you sort of give an opinion or an insight of the future of the Mekong region in terms of e-logistics and e-commerce? So starting with Dr. Piyanoot.
Okay. For me, I think this is the time that we have to think about collaboration, and then we do something, the service for logistics, we do something that together to help the commerce, the agriculture, the industry to be bigger for each of GDP of each country. I mean, you know, logistics will help, and then the government just of each country facilitate us, and then we go together with one platform. I think this is the good time to do this together, and then everything is ready for that. The technology, is the right time. Just come together, and then. But I just want to one thing that I want to share and leave here is that. Please give a chance for the SME, and then let them can grow their business, and then they have a good life. They have if we want like a GMS, every country in GMS to be like a developed country. Develop, not developing, right? Like something, right? I want every country we go together to develop together, not just Thailand is only one, another is, we don't want to do like a zero-sum game, we want to do win-win-win, because we like a big family now, we enhance together, something like this, yeah.
Okay, Mr. James?
I think for me, COVID gave e-commerce a kick. It's given it sort of 5 years worth of growth in a very short space
Everybody's
of time,
forced
right?
to go online.
So I think we forced some development. This is now sort of maximizing on that opportunity. Small and medium-sized enterprises are always going to be the lifeblood of the economy. So the platforms really give these guys the ability to compete on a level playing field, you know, with the big brands that are also trading on the platforms. I think we're going to see more sophistication, more simplification of process, and really see a continuation of very rapid growth. The users are out there, they all use their phones. So the adoption of retail and buying online is going to continue. Logistics is a facilitator, as is payment, as is the guy riding the motorbike. We're all a facilitator in that process, but we're becoming more tech-enabled, and it's enabling the SMEs to sort of grow and maximize the opportunity.
Okay, so it seems like a high growth, but needs government support, and also customs is also very an important aspect of it. Ms. Rachelle, about the future?
Same comment. Yeah, very much the same. Like there's strong potential in this region. The economic scale of the Mekong Delta is expected to more than double by 2030. So just by that and everything that the pandemic has prepared us for, the consumer behavior has shifted. People have become more demanding. So there's the demand that's generating a lot of these exciting new business opportunities for everyone to tie everything together. You work on making the fragmented payments and logistics landscape a little bit more unified across the region with cooperation amongst different sectors, including the government, to improve on regulations that affect cross-border trade in this region. I think there's a lot in store for the Mekong region.
Okay, just to add one more question from our Zoom audience, they asked if this region is ready for e-payment. What do you think at this moment? I think they're going along. Yeah.
Yep.
Very much so. For
Very much
e-payment,
so,
right?
so-
Very much so.
Yeah, so e-payment and very high growth potential in the Mekong region. Okay, thank you all to our speakers. Thank you so much. ขอบคุณมากนะครับ Thank you so much.
ขอบคุณค่ะ
Thank
So
you.
this ends our online session. So thank you again for joining. And we also have a QR code that we would like you to scan and evaluate. And any feedback would greatly be appreciated if we could have a QR code maybe next to Ms. Rachelle, perhaps for our online Zoom members that they can scan. ขึ้น QR code ใกล้ๆคุณ Rachelle ได้ไหมฮะ there we go. So this is for our Zoom members to scan and give some feedback. So thank you again. And also thank you to all our speakers. And this ends our online session. Thank you. ขอบคุณครับ
ขอบคุณค่ะ
โอเค
ขอบคุณนะคะ